What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex, and you're watching the TF Movie Show. This is just web series. We're talking about the Transformers live-action movie franchise. This is episode number 62, and we're going to continue this web series I got going on where I revisit the Transformers live-action movie franchise just because, well, I think it's about time we talk about the franchise every single film after it's released, like for the original film 13 years ago, considering the fact that we don't got a new film until summer of 2022. So, I think it's a great time to revisit these films, and to top things off, I've mentioned it many times, I got a big screen TV, 65 inches, 4K, and I've been really enjoying watching movies on this freaking huge screen. So I'm really happy about that. But in any case, we're going to continue where I left off. I just recently did my Transformers Revenge of the Fallen review, something I haven't done ever. I've never ever reviewed Transformers Revenge of the Fallen on video for YouTube on this channel, ever. Okay, so this is quite a historical event, and that movie came out 11 years ago, and finally I'm talking about it publicly on this platform. And it generated a lot of discussion, a lot of debate, a lot of controversy, a lot of conversation, and it's mainly because my stance on this film, my feelings have changed since I've seen it 11 years ago. If you've watched my review, you will see that I explained in the video that I really enjoyed and loved the film back when I watched it in the theatrical release. And then now that I watched it recently, a couple weeks ago, my feelings have changed entirely. And I've been checking out the comments, and boy oh boy, it's created quite a discussion. A lot of people understand where I'm coming from. Still, a lot of people are bent on the fact that they believe that it's a great movie. And you know what? I totally respect that. If you love the movie like watching it in the theaters, and you still love the movie watching it now, that's totally cool. I'm happy you're happy about the film. I'm happy that you're content and satisfied with the way the film turned out. But let's make no mistake about it, this film is actually a very flawed film. At least for a Transformers film, and even as just a film in general, it's a very flawed film. And you know, everybody can agree with this. Every single Transformers fan, Michael Bay fan can agree with this, that there could be a lot of improvement. This film could have been better. We all know this. And the fact is that there was a writer's strike. Now, I've spent a lot of time talking about the previous episode. I would have normally gone to doing the my little prologue for reviewing Transformers Dark of the Moon, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that until a little bit later on. What I'm going to do is continue and follow up on Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, because like I said before, this review has created quite a bit of conversation, and it made me realize that a lot of people still really love this film. And I'm pretty surprised by that. But at the same time, I shouldn't be, because if you love something, you love something. I would, however, like to invite you to rewatch Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. Rewatch it again after this video right now, because we're going to talk about a bunch of things that might change your perspective on this film. Okay? And it's very important that you do that. And then I want you to come back to the next video or this video to comment and see how you really feel about it after what I've talked about. Because, like, I've seen a lot of negative comments, how some people are no longer fans of me because of that review. That's totally fine. I respect that. I respect your decision. That's totally fine that you choose to no longer be a fan, no longer want to follow me, no longer want to subscribe. That's totally fine. If it's not for you, it's not for you. I can't change that, and I have no issues with that. I've done the same. I've seen some people post some disagreeable stuff that I followed for a very long time, unfollowed. It's no big deal. People do it all the time. In any case, what I want to do is, you know, I'm all about positivity. I want to promote positivity, okay? I want to do some kind of constructive criticism for Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. And what I intend to do in this video is I'm going to tell you how Transformers Revenge of the Fallen can be improved. Very specifically. Now, this is with following the staying in line with the budget of Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. Now, what I mean by that is that I'm not going to change the movie entirely. I'm trying to make little tweaks here and there without going overboard. Because I know a lot of people might say, like, they should have done this and they should have done that, and then they write a whole entire scene. I'm not going to do that, okay? I'm just going to make tweaks here and there, which will actually change and improve the film a lot more. I've been doing a lot of thinking about how, and people have been telling me this for years, and that is, they keep on saying, Alex, you should direct the next Transformers film. You should direct it. You have a lot of great ideas. You should direct it. And, you know, I take that as a compliment, but nothing more than that. I'm not going to go out of my way to, you know, start going to film school and then become a director. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go to Paramount or Michael Bay and say, hey, let me direct it. I'm not going to do that. Obviously, it's not realistic. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to provide some creative input as well as constructive criticism about how Transformers Revenge of the Fallen can be improved. I'm going to put in very specific tweaks here and there, and I'm going to get into them in very, very, like, fine detail. And believe me, this will really help it. Okay, so let's just start from the very, very beginning. We're going to go from the very beginning to the very, very end. I don't know how long this video is going to take, but I'm just going to zip right through it because there's a lot of little things that I'd like to change. But I don't change it so vastly to the point where it's a completely unrecognizable film. The structure is still the same, okay? But we're going to make little tweaks, okay? This might even save the movie money. And save it from a lot of negative criticism. First of all, let's just start off with... let's get rid of Leo entirely. He does not exist. Ramon Rodriguez, fine actor. You know, I'm sure he's a nice guy. But I don't think he really needs to be there. Think about it. If you remove his character from this film and find another way for Sam to reconnect with Simmons, it's the same film. What does he really do in this film? Not a whole lot. He befriends Sam Witwicky. He makes his way to Egypt, provides a little bit of visual gags and comedy, but besides that, he's just really there for comedy. And there's enough goofy humor as it already is. So let's just get rid of him entirely. So what do we get instead? Let's replace Leo with a few minor human characters that Sam Witwicky meets along the way in the campus. Okay, just some friends. We get to know their names, and then he just talks to them like regular humans talk, okay? And just create some just casual dialogue. It might create for some funny moments, some relatable campus scenes, relatable school scenes, you know what I'm saying? Like things that like us, audience members, can connect with. Nothing over the top like what Leo and Sam went through. And then, let's leave it off with that. But let's not have these minor human characters make their way all the way to Egypt. Okay, let's eliminate that entirely. Sam Witwicky and Michaela are on their own. Okay, they don't need a character like Leo to help them to Egypt. Okay, because he really didn't help them find any of those things that they needed. He didn't help them find a matrix of leadership in Egypt. Okay, so that's the first thing. Let's get rid of Leo. Second thing, let's change the idea of Agent Simmons working at a butcher shop to being a conspiracy theorist, which he already is, but let's make it so that he's the one that finds Sam, not the other way around. Okay, so Leo, if he were in my version of Leo in Revenge of the Fallen, he helps Sam find Simmons. Okay, let's switch that up. Okay, let's always just make it that suddenly Simmons just shows up at his door, at his campus door, or wherever. Let's just find it so that somehow he finds him, okay? But he is the one that finds him, not the other way around. It would be a huge surprise for the audience because it would be like a funny welcoming back, return of Simmons, okay? But then he will explain how he found him. He says, I've been following this whole like all the news reports, I have these newspaper clippings, blah, 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 blah. In the end, it's for them to reconnect, but it's not done in an over-the-top way where he's a butcher, okay? I just think that that's just too much, okay? Like, you can see where I'm going with this, and that is I'm trying to make the film a little bit more serious, okay? So I'm just trying to eliminate a little bit too much of the over-the-top humor, and then we're trying to, like keep it a little bit more grounded, okay? Next, let's eliminate the twins and the RC triplets. Or RC sisters. I can't call them triplets because, well, are they the triplets? Well, they're sisters for sure, but okay, let's just call them the RC sisters because I can't confirm or deny, or can't verify that they're the triplets, okay? Let's just get rid of the twins. Let's get rid of the RC sisters because the RC sisters were just there for the sake of being there because they weren't used in the first film. But they were there in a very, very minute way where they just showed up and then they got killed, okay? But they did, you know what? I swear, they were in the film for less than a minute, okay, of screen time. When you put all the scenes together, they were in there for less than a minute. And really, let's just save some budget on those CG effects, CG animation. Let's just wipe them out entirely, okay? Let's use that money for creating other CG scenes, okay? Let's get rid of the twins. I know it costs a lot of money and time, a lot of CG rendering and labor, like computer labor, tech labor from the CG animators to create the twins, the renderings, the transformations of RC and the twins. Let's just eliminate them altogether. When you really think about it, we don't really need them. It's not that I'm annoyed by the characters. I'm thinking about how they contribute, and they don't actually contribute much unless you want that type of humor. The thing is that my direction for this film is to get it a little bit more serious. So far, we've gotten rid of Leo. We're getting rid of the twins and the triplets, RC sisters, and then we're changing how Sam meets Simmons, and that is Simmons finding Sam. Okay, so next, let's switch up the Shanghai battle. The Shanghai battles is good. You know, it's exciting. After rewatching it, I'm not a big fan of it actually. I mean, it's action packed, but I'm still not a real big fan of how it plays out. I have a problem with the way it plays out in the end where Demolisher just suddenly is owned by Optimus Prime and is done in a very, very simple way. Let's be completely real here. Nest did nothing. Nest screwed up a job in hunting the Decepticons. They were supposed to stealthily and discreetly take out the Decepticons in Shanghai, but they totally messed that up. Okay, the following scene, you know, where the officer, the head guy, reams them out. That's a display of the government claiming that you guys made a mess of things, right? So, you know, obviously they didn't do a very good job. Let the Autobots handle it. That's my change for this. The Shanghai battle actually, okay, should have started with Nest. They couldn't handle it. So who comes in? Who comes in next? You have Sideswipe, Ironhide, and Optimus Prime. Oh, and Ratchet. You have the four of them show up, okay? Okay, I don't know about Jolt, but you have them show up. Maybe Jolt will show up too, but like maybe you just have them show up, roll up because the Nest cannot handle it, so it becomes a really short-lived car chase. Not a really big one, but a short enough one just to stay within that budget that they were given, okay? And to stay within that, let's just get rid of Sideways. Let's get rid of Sideways for the Shanghai battle because I don't want to have a Decepticon get hyped up, show up, and then only to get destroyed seconds later. Okay, so in the Shanghai battle, we've eliminated the twins, we've eliminated the sisters, and we've eliminated Sideways. Now it's just all about Demolisher. So what happens next? After Nest fails, we have Optimus Prime, we have Ratchet, we have Ironhide and Sideswipe roll up behind Demolisher as he's rolling away in that highway in Shanghai. They're rolling up behind him, and as they're doing that, they're blasting at him. Okay, they're transforming into robot mode, and then they're transforming back into vehicle mode, and they're blasting at him, and they find a way to actually take him down. Done deal. Okay, because it shows that they're working together as a unit. The Autobots are working together as a unit, and their firepower is stronger than Nest, and they take them down on its own. And then he says the message of the Fallen is coming, or is making a return, or whatever, right? So it shows you that this sequence has a true beginning, middle, and end. All right, it has more meat in the middle. The way I feel is that it's got a beginning, middle, and an abrupt end. A very, very abrupt end. It needs a little bit more meat in the middle to show us that the Autobots actually put forth an effort to take them down. Optimus Prime took out Demolisher effortlessly. Okay? Effortlessly. To the point where I feel like, is Nest even useful? Like, do they even need Nest? Right? So, let's have it so that Nest fails but then the Autobots step in afterwards, okay? So that's that. That's the Shanghai battle, okay? Next, I gotta tell you that I love the Ravage scene, okay? There's actually two scenes I really love in this film. In fact, there's only two things that I really love about this film, like completely, okay, at all. Ravage and the forest fight. That's it, okay? Ravage and the forest fight. But the Ravage scene actually needs some improvement. My biggest issue with Ravage is, once again, beginning, middle, and end. It has a beginning, it has a middle, it has no end, okay? And this is actually something that I was mentioning to you about in the previous episode, and I said that, you know, our brains can see that there's something wrong with this film. It can tell us subconsciously that, you know, I'm content with what I watched, but I feel like there's something missing. I feel like we get that a lot in a lot of these Transformers films. You kind of get a feeling where you feel like, okay, am I happy with how this turns out? Like, our brain tells us, does this scene work or it doesn't work? Is it awkward or is it not awkward? Is it something that I'm satisfied with or is it not satisfactory? Or is it you know, is it, like, does it work or it doesn't work? You know what I'm saying? So my brain told me that this scene is great, but it still doesn't feel satisfying. It doesn't feel satisfying. And that is because it doesn't have a beginning. No, it doesn't have an end to the beginning and the middle. It just ends abruptly. Okay, so here's what it should have, how it should have ended. That scene is almost perfect. It just needs a proper ending. Here's how it should end, okay? So Ravage is seen on the outside of the bunker. He's shooting at it. He should continue shooting at it, taking out maybe one or two human soldiers, okay? And then he takes out the Humvee, the vehicle, blows up, and then he takes off, okay? Then you have a soldier saying that, what was that? I don't know what it was, but it got away. And then they go back into the bunker to see that the shard is missing. And then they say, sir, the artifact is gone. They have it. And then end scene. That's it. That's all you have to do. I just need some sort of conclusion. That's all I need, okay? But right now, it's just like, whoa, that's it? I would have liked to see more. And you know this. You know this. Even though the ones that are really happy with Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, who love Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, who think that Transformers Revenge of the Fallen is their favorite Transformers film, you know that that scene could have been longer, okay? You're not going to just say that, no, I loved it the way it was, okay? What I've suggested will really help this film, believe me, okay? Next. Okay, so I really despise the idea of pretenders. It just kind of defeats the purpose of robots in disguise. So now we're like humans in disguise, okay? So, okay, let's just replace Alice altogether. You're sure she is nice to look at, okay? She's very, very nice to look at. I think she's a very, very fine-looking female, okay? But let's just replace Alice with a creepy, stalking Sideways. Sideways doesn't necessarily have to be an Audi R8, okay? Okay, but if you want to keep it an Audi R8, that's fine. But I'm just saying that let's just have Sideways, okay? Just be a robot in disguise. He's rolling around the campus. We barely notice him because he's just in the background. It's kind of like just one of those scenes where if you don't really pay attention, you won't really notice him. So let's do that. Let's have some clever storytelling here, and that is having him roll around, and then you're like, oh, so that was a Decepticon the whole time. That was a robot in disguise the whole time, and I didn't even realize it until he revealed himself. After the other 3 scenes that he was in, we didn't know until now. That is something that goes back to the whole idea of robots in disguise, but we never really get that. We just have robots. Just robots, okay? But never robots in disguise. So just have this vehicle roaming around, okay? Just driving in the background while Sam is talking to a classmate. And then the idea of him knowing, Sideways knowing where to find Sam is because he's got remnants of the shard on him or something like that. It's something that something that Sideways can detect. Finally, rather than Alice revealing to Sam that he's a pretender, is that when Sam is finally in the open, okay, when Sam is finally in the open, he makes his attack on him. He reveals himself. and he's like, ah! I mean, you know, Sam like screams like, oh my god, no, 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 no. That's when Bumblebee shows up, and then we have Barricade versus Bumblebee version 2.0. You know what I'm saying? This time it's Sideways versus Bumblebee. Or, you know, it doesn't even have to be Bumblebee. In that scene, Bumblebee wasn't even there. It was Michaela who rescues him. Okay, so make it like this, okay? Michaela shows up, just like she does, like normally, like in the original film, on campus with her regular vehicle, and make it a car chase between Sideways and Michaela's car. Okay, and he's like, no, 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 you know, go, 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 you know, typical Sam Witwicky. Okay, that's how it should have been. Okay, none of this pretender nonsense. Come on now. Okay, so you see where I'm going with this. You see how these scenes can play out even better with these minor adjustments. Okay, because I'm not eliminating Sideways. I'm just putting him in a different scene, which makes more sense. Okay, forest fight. Okay. There is absolutely nothing I would change in the forest fight. I like the way how it played out. I love the choreography. I love how it ended with Optimus dying. Okay, it was shocking, it was surprising, but it was a much needed change of pace. You know, so that it shows that Optimus Prime is not 100% invincible. It shows that he's vulnerable. He can take out 3 Decepticons at once, but it's still a difficult task. Someone can sneak up on him and blow him to bits. But anyways, okay, I'm happy with the way how it played out. I wasn't happy with how, not so much how it ended, but more that it left more to be desired. Like, I'm not talking about the fight sequence. I'm talking about what follows after. And it goes all the way to the scene where he's being airlifted, and then they drop him onto the tarmac like he's garbage, okay? So let's just rewind this, okay? Let's rewind this to when the Autobots show up, okay? So, let's continue that scene, like have it play out, where the Autobots roll in, and then the scene doesn't end there. The Autobots drive in. They don't transform yet. They transform when they reach Optimus, and I'm talking about every single Autobot, okay? Every single Autobot rolls up, they surround Optimus in vehicle mode, and when they're around him, they create a perimeter around him, and then they transform into robot mode. They see that Starscream and Megatron are flying away, and they bum 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 bum. They're firing at them furiously because they saw what they did to Megatron, and you see you see Ironhide and Ratchet going, "Die! You die, Decepticon! Optimus, wake up!" You know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be an emotional scene. It needs to show that kind of tragic hero, that moment where we feel the pain from these Autobots who have regard for their Autobot brothers. We need to see that, and that creates so much more heart for this scene. Okay, at face value, it's an action sequence. It's a fantastic action sequence, but it needs to be more. Create a little bit more heart, a little bit more emotion. And let's just have the 2 main Autobots from the first film just go nuts with their guns and cannons and make some connecting shots at Starscream and Megatron. That's all I ask. After Megatron and Starscream get away, let's follow it up by saying like, Optimus, wake up! Ratchet, check his vitals, blah, 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 right? And then finally they get on a communicator, and then they say, Lennox, Optimus is down. End scene. That's it. That's it. Okay? Nothing major. I haven't changed the scene. I've just added a little bit more, which probably only takes an additional minute. Okay? Alright, now we're going to move on to the very end, okay? Now, I don't know what to change about... You know, I really have an issue with the pacing of the film after the forest battle. I don't know what to change about that. I've thought about a lot, and I just don't know what to change, because a lot of it involves Simmons and Leo and Sam and Michaela. I really don't know how to change that, okay? So let's just go to how... let's go to the forest fight. No, sorry. What am I talking about? Let's go to the Egypt battle and see what I would do differently there, okay? So, let's just start off with less human soldiers. Less human soldiers, only a small platoon. And by small platoon, I'm not talking about like 5 soldiers. I'm talking about like 20 soldiers, 20, 30 soldiers max. That's it. No reinforcements. No reinforcements due to the fact that Starscream messed up their communications. The reinforcements cannot join in for the battle until the very last minute. And I'm talking about until the last minute, meaning that the fight is already over. And then they do the typical Hollywood moment where they say like, hey, did you guys call for help? You just miss all the action. You know, we do that, okay? You know, it'll be a funny gag, okay? But the idea is that they don't need all those soldiers. What they really needed was the Autobots working together, okay? That's what they really needed, okay? So, like I said before, less humans, small platoon, no reinforcements. The reinforcements come at the last minute, right when the fighting's over. Instead, what we should see is the Autobots in the fight with the Decepticons. If it's going to be a bunch of Devastator clones, so be it. It doesn't matter, okay? Let's not have these weird-ass protoforms, okay? These weird-looking protoforms that aren't actual Transformers. Let's just keep it as Constructicon clones. Let's do that. But let's have it so that it looks a little bit more like the downtown battle. Remember that shot where Ratchet and Ironhide are like covering fire? Let's make it like that. They're hiding behind buildings. They're going hiding. You know what I'm saying? Let's do that. And let's have the Autobots communicate with each other. Like, for example, if they see a giant long-haul Constructicon walking towards them, he said, "There's the big guy's coming! Take out his legs!" And so they're communicating, you know what I'm saying? So this is actually something where we feel like, okay, now we're in the battle. Now we're just watching, now we're actually being put as, like, the director's actually putting us into the middle of the battle, as opposed to just having all this action thrown at us, like, aimlessly. Okay, that's what happened. That's what's happening in the Egypt Battle, Revenge of Fallen. In my version, we're being put in the middle of the battle where it's a more personal perspective, okay? So let's do that, okay? Now, next is show the gunfire from the Autobots connecting with the Decepticons so we can see a body count of Decepticons that were caused by actual Autobot gunfire, okay? Let's do that, okay? I think that would be really, really cool. Next, let's just show the humans doing a lot of firing, but they don't really do anything. Let's just have shots of Michael Bay's really good at doing this, and that is filming humans going brrr, brrr, right? But then the focus is on the Autobots rolling into battle in vehicle mode, and then transforming, and then even getting into hand-to-hand combat with Constructicons. That would be cool. Okay, next. I'm just reading what I have here. Let's talk about Devastator. How should we introduce Devastator, okay? Devastator, instead of the twins rolling up on these Constructicons in vehicle mode with Leo and Simmons, instead, we have Bumblebee with Michaela and Sam and Simmons in the passenger seat. They're trying to make their way to the Autobots, okay? It's a long drive, but then they drive past these construction vehicles, which later on reveal themselves as Constructicons. So then they're transforming, but they're all spread out. So it's a bit of a drive to get past them. And then Sam is obviously like, no, let's go. Like he's panicking. He's furiously panicking. And then as these Constructicons are transforming from vehicle to robot mode, they're shooting at him. They're shooting at him with their guns, their arm cannons, okay? So Bumblebee's like trying to evade gunfire. All right, and then finally he evades all that gunfire, and then he says that, I think we lost them. He turns around, sees that they're merging, and that's when we see the Constructicons in an epic transformation to form Devastator, and they're like, there's something big behind us, go, 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 and then the Devastator is like, boom, 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 but it turns out that they're not chasing after him, they're actually going towards the pyramid, so then, you know, it goes to that scene where he's climbing out the pyramid and trying to take off the top of the pyramid to activate the Sun Harvester, right? So we do that, okay? So that's how I would do the Devastator scene. Without the twins, without Leo and Simmons, okay? Instead, it's a scene where Bumblebee's trying to evade the Constructicon gunfire, okay? Finally, okay, this is the last part, okay? We're getting to half an hour in this video, okay? So, Devastator slowly makes his way to the pyramid. There is no USS Stenis, okay? There is no railgun mounted on a battleship, okay? On a destroyer that kills Devastator. Instead, it's the Autobots converging on the location of Devastator on the pyramid, and then they see him, and then they start taking out their cannons and go bum, 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 bum. Like, they're trying to blast him, okay? And, you know, the guns connect, I mean, the bullets connect, the lasers do hit Devastator, but it's not enough. It is absolutely not enough. They need to totally concentrate their firepower on him, but it actually gets the attention of the Fallen, okay? And the Fallen stops them using his force, you know, and goes, and then, you know, dropping tanks on the Autobots. And then later on we have, you know, we haven't forgotten, let's not forget about Starscream and Megatron, okay? Starscream and Megatron work together, going on strafing runs, okay? So they're in jet mode, and they're just doing like flybys and just sending volleys of projectiles at the ground troops and the Autobots, okay? So they're dominating. This is obviously is not working, all right? So then Jolt joins with, maybe we might not even have Jolt altogether. You know, let's just have Jetfire having the ability to just merge with Optimus Prime. This film, Revenge of Fallen, is all about merging, okay? Okay, so Jetfire rips off his spark, but not before he merges with Optimus Prime, okay? Then those are his parts. It doesn't really need the help of Jolt. Let's just eliminate Jolt altogether, because he really doesn't do anything, except that. But I think that Optimus could have merged with Jetfire without the help of Jolt. In my version, that's the way it works, okay? So Jetfire Prime flies up, okay? Flies and shoots down Devastator. Jetfire Prime is the one that takes out Devastator, not the USS Stenis' railgun. I hate the fact of these major Decepticon characters being taken out by humans, okay? It shouldn't be that way. So Jetfire Prime flies, and then doom, 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 flies right through him, just like the same way he flies through the Driller in Dark of the Moon. So the same kind of way. And then all the Decepticons, I mean Constructicons, separate. Dum, 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 dum. They're tumbling down the pyramid, okay? And then they, you know, they're dazed, and they get up in their robot modes. And then who's waiting for them down at the base of the pyramid? The Autobots, Ironhide, Ratchet, Sideswipe. They then take them out, okay, along with like tanks and other soldiers. So all the Constructicons get taken out by the remaining Autobots at the base of the pyramid, because they've tumbled down, suffered a lot of damage, and then that's the end of of Devastator and the Constructicons. Following that, okay, so Optimus Prime is flying around. Now next, Optimus Prime is actually trying to take out Starscream and Megatron, okay? So there's a very, very slight, like, it's a very short-lived sequence, but then the Fallen, using his technology of being able to warp, okay, sky warp, if you will, he warps, and then he actually brings Prime down, which disables his Jetfire tech, okay, his Jetfire parts. That's all disabled. And then it's a fight between him and the Fallen, okay? I don't care how they wrap it up, okay? But it's a fight between him and the Fallen at this point. But then, so what happens to Starscream and Megatron? Well, Starscream just flies away, but he vocally acknowledges that he's been defeated. Like, they've been defeated. It's like it's time to go, Lord or Master. We have to go. There's no shame in retreating. He flies away. Typical Starscream fashion. It's fine. I love that, okay? As for Megatron, Megatron tries to fly away, but not without being shot at several times by Ironhide and Ratchet and Sideswipe, okay? He gets shot away a couple times, and then he flies off, okay? Then end off with Optimus beating the Fallen. That's it. That is it, okay? Like, that fight does not have to be super epic, but there needs to be some sort of fight, and I just love the idea that the Fallen actually was the one that actually, he used his warping technology to bring Optimus down to the ground. I love that idea, mostly because that shows that Fallen actually he still has something in him. He still got it to fight Optimus Prime. Prime versus another Prime, okay? And then they put up a bit of a fight. And I'm not going to give the details of how they fought, but then at the end of it, Fallen loses, okay? So that's that. And then, let me see, what else did I write here? That's it. That is all I've done. So you can see that I haven't changed anything significantly. I think the most amount of significance is that I've changed the way how the Egypt battle plays out. But then everything else is just that I'm adding a few scenes here and there, a few shots here and there, which don't even really last more than 2 minutes. Okay, that's all I'm doing. I've eliminated things. I've gotten rid of characters like Twins and Jolt and RC. I've gotten rid of Leo, and I've changed the way how Simmons reconnects with Sam. And I've even added a bit of I didn't even include a Rampage versus Bumblebee scene in it. I don't even think that even needs to happen. All right, so if anything, it should be Sideways versus Bumblebee. Okay, like that way we could see that there's a bit of a rivalry there. You know what I'm saying? That way there's that rivalry that we never really got with Barricade and Bumblebee. So, you know, that's like, hey man, Sideways, you're messing with my boy Sam. I'm gonna get you back in Egypt, right? So that's that. Like, there's that emotional connection there, and that's how I would change Revenge of the Fallen. And by doing this, I think that as an audience, we'll feel so much better, more satisfied with the final result, because it feels complete. It feels like all these scenes are actually complete and cohesive, right? It's not that I don't think you get a satisfied, 100% satisfied feeling when you see these major Decepticon characters being taken out by humans. It's not as satisfying compared to Autobots doing the one that's taking them out. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm looking for when I watch these movies. That's what I'm looking for when I critique these movies. I'm looking for, like, Transformers elements, and also how to make these films feel complete as a film. I'm just talking about as a film, all right? In general. Me having watched, like, hundreds and thousands of films over and over again. I study films to see why films and direction is so much better than other films with a lack of direction. You know what I'm saying? And Revenge of the Fallen lacks good direction. So therefore, I'm gonna provide my feedback, and that's what I did for the last 35 minutes. And I hope you guys agree with it. So now, for those that disagreed with my review of Revenge of the Fallen in the previous video, now do you see what I'm talking about? Go watch Revenge of the Fallen with my thoughts in mind, and think about how that would play out better. Then you will realize that how Revenge of the Fallen is definitely not a perfect film. It's a heavily flawed film, and is definitely not a good film by any means, because it lacks this cohesion, right? It lacks beginning, middle, and end. So there you have it. Anyways, that's all I gotta say in this video. So typically I would have moved on to Dark of the Moon, but because of what I did for Revenge of the Fallen, I'd actually like to continue this for Transformers. I want to tell you how I would fix the first film in the next episode. In episode number 63, we're going to talk about how I would fix the first film, because there's something that I would do, and I'm sure you're really curious about that. We're going to talk about that in the next video. As for now, I'm just going to give you a shout out to a very, very talented artist. Art comes in many, many, many forms, okay? And we have a Transformers fan who has created some really unique, really special Transformers art. I'm not going to post it on this video because I want you to go to his Instagram account, hit follow, show him support, and excuse me, go show him some support. And by following and also checking out what he actually created with his talent and creativity and his resources, go give Less Is More a follow. I'm going to leave you a link in the description box below at Less Is More. And go check it out. Show him some support. I love acknowledging and spreading awareness about these really talented Transformers artists and fans. And so I think you should do the same by showing them support, by following. So please do that. Really, really amazing work, okay? And art, like I said, comes in many, many forms. Like 2D art, 3D art. It could be anything. So there you have it. Anyways, let me know your feedback on these changes that I've made. Let me know your feedback on all these changes and additions. I'm really curious to know what you think about it, because I've been reading these comments for many, many years where you have been saying that I should direct the next Transformers. And in a way, this is me directing Transformers. If I were to direct Revenge of the Fallen, this is how I would have done it. And I'd like to provide my version of Transformers, the very first film, in the next episode and see what you guys think about that. And then following that, we're going to revisit Dark of the Moon, Age of Extinction, Transformers Last Night, ending this web series with Bumblebee. Alright, and there you have it. As always, if you enjoyed this video, you want to see more, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation, also follow me on Twitter, Ragin Nation. My name's Alex, thanks for watching, I'll see you next time, peace.